Happy holidays, High Path family. We are back with another video. Today we are cozying up with some soups. We hope you had a great holiday celebration with your family and friends, and Happy New Year, everybody.
Hey everybody, welcome to the High Path channel. If you're new, my name is Rosa and welcome to our very humble kitchen. Today, actually it is the season for soup. Anything that's warming, anything that's comforting really is just warm because it's been very, very cold here in the desert of Nevada. So we really need some warming, delicious, nutritious soups. So that's what we're going to be making today.
Before we dive in, let's get prepped. We wash our hands with only the best, our very own handmade soaps crafted by yours truly.
Now, if you're ready to make your ordinary shower into a spa-like experience, check out our website, eatingbodykit.com. And now back to the video. So very recently, Trey decided to take out our slow cooker, which I have a pot here for. So we've had our slow cooker. This is like a 3-pot slow cooker, which we had for many years now. And we just kept it up in the storage for a long time. And because we have been, getting up early to cook lunches and dinners for Trey and for breakfast, he is very problem solving. So to solve the problem of getting up so super early to get everything done, he's like, why not just bust out our slow cooker? We've had this for so many years. Why not just start using it? So that's what we did. We took it out. We have a GE slow cooker. We just cleaned it off, and then we've been loving our slow cooker for steel cut oats for breakfast and also for soups for lunches and things like that. So today, let's just make some soup. I have some ingredients going on here. I have some lentils that we've already soaked as well. So I'm just going to chop up some mirepoix, which is just onions, carrots, and celery. Now we've only got 2 pots to use for the slow cooker. One is actually cooking our steel cut oats for breakfast for the kids and I today. So I just have one here. This we are going to use to make Trey's lunch for tomorrow. So we're going to chop up our vegetables, and then we're going to put it on there. Right now it's about like 10 o'clock. I like to cook it as long as possible on low, just to make sure all the nutrients is slow cooked out into the soup itself.
Today we start where all great dishes begin, with the mirepoix. If you don't know what mirepoix is, it is the foundational ingredients, starting with earthy onions, sweet carrots, and crisp celery. These humble ingredients come together to form this aromatic base for any dish, and I truly believe that all more Western dishes should start with these base aromatics without question.
In a separate pot over here, this is where we're going to be making, I was thinking something with lentil type of soup. I had the idea of making like a lasagna soup, which just requires some lentil. It's basically like a bolognese sauce, but with added extra liquid because we're going to add some lasagna noodles in. And it's super, super rich, very filling, and I think it's going to do really good with the kids because they love lasagna, and why not just put it into a soup?
In my Instant Pot dish, I am chopping up some broccoli and potatoes as well. Generally, I do like to roast the vegetables before putting it into an Instant Pot to start the soup. I found that if we don't roast the vegetables first, it doesn't develop enough flavor, so it's kind of like just boiled soup. So I'm learning from my mistakes. I am hoping that you also can learn from my mistakes and just don't put your vegetables. I mean, if you are, short on time, then definitely just add your ingredients in your Instant Pot and you can make soup. However, I really highly suggest that you just chop these vegetables up, the mirepoix, potatoes, broccoli, whatever that you're putting in your soup. You're going to put it on a roasting tray, put some oil, some salt, season it up, roast it at about 425 degrees convection for about 15-20 minutes until it develops those flavors, and then add them into your Instant Pot. Also, as a plant-based family, we want to make sure that we are diversifying our vegetables. So if you can, if your market or supermarket offers a ton of variety of vegetables, please use it. It is important that we diversify because we're getting all these different vitamins and minerals from different vegetables that we use. And it's just very, very important as a plant-based person. So go start exploring your market, see what is offered, and just start playing with different ingredients. And you would be surprised what kind of soups or dishes you could make. Here I'm adding some Celtic sea salt. Now, Celtic sea salt is very different from regular table salt because Celtic sea salt is packed with over 80 essential trace minerals that your body craves and loves and needs. It can also help support hydration by balancing your body's electrolytes. So if you can get your hands on some, definitely use some Celtic sea salt. If you've never tried slow cooked steel cut oats, definitely try it. It saves so much time and it's so good. Back to our soup, we are just adding our pot into our Instant Pot, and I like to cook this on high. We're going to cook this from about 10-11 a.m. in the morning all the way until tomorrow morning when it's time to pack Trey's lunch to go to work. I'm adding just enough water to cover all the vegetables and I'm just going to let it cook. Let's get our pot ready to start on our base for our lasagna soup. I've got my onions, my carrots, and my celery sauteing in some oil. Then I'm just going to add some salt just to start layering that salt. And I'm adding some thyme here. You can add some Italian seasonings. Oregano is of course signature in a Italian dish, and also some basil if you have as well. That's why I like to use Italian seasoning because it has all of these flavors in them in one bottle. We're going to cook this for a few minutes just to develop some color and some flavor in the pot. And then these are the lentils that I'm using. They are just red lentils that we've soaked overnight. And then the morning of, I just drained them and I've rinsed them really well. And I'm going to add about half of these lentils into my pot. Just the same as the vegetables, I like to develop the flavors and meld everything together, make everyone friends in my pot of lentils and mirepoix. So also I take a few minutes to saute this into all of the ingredients, and I'm going to add some water to start the lentils cooking. Initially I have the fire or the stove on at about medium-high heat, and I'm going to bring this up to a boil, so I'm going to start the water on high now. Once it starts boiling, I will lower the temperature. We are adding a can of crushed tomatoes to our soup because, of course, a lasagna requires some tomato sauce. At first, I didn't know if I wanted to add a whole can or not, so we just started with half a can. And because it is soup, I do need to add more water because the lentils are going to take a certain amount of water to cook, and then I'm just going to add some additional water to make it a soup-like consistency. Just the act of making soup while it's cold outside, it is so comforting. I don't know if you're like me, I just really enjoy the process and the smells and the warm, comforting, like feel of it. Just standing in front of the stove when it's nice and warm, stirring my beautiful soup. For this lasagna soup, we of course need some lasagna noodles. Ugh, look at this lasagna. It is so good. Anyway, so we're gonna make this soup really simple. So as you can see, this is the consistency of our soup so far. It is not too thick, it's not too thin, and we're just going to start breaking apart our pasta noodles right into the soup. Actually, now that I'm thinking, I would suggest going for a more of a liquidy consistency with the soup first before you uh, break these lasagna noodles because when you cook these lasagna noodles, it's going to add starchiness to the soup, which is going to thicken the soup consistency as well. If you like a more perfect lasagna, you can definitely use maybe some scissors, but I like the rusticness of breaking it like this. You have little small noodle pieces, you have some really larger lasagna noodle pieces, and I really just like that uniqueness, that rusticness, that hominess, whatever you call it, that imperfect perfection. Adding some greens, we're just going to wash and throw in a couple of handfuls of rainbow kale. I've been loving kale recently, so I've just been putting it in everything. And if you don't like the textures of kale, because I understand it can be a little bit harder, I would suggest just adding it to your soup. The longer that you cook it, the softer it gets, and it just kind of melts into your soup, and you don't really taste how hard or crunchy it is. I ended up throwing in the rest of that can of crushed tomatoes in there just to add extra tomatoey flavors. And then now it's just a matter of cooking this soup. I'd say I give it about maybe 20 minutes total and it will be done. You definitely want to taste the soup at this point. Make sure your salt is on point. Make sure your seasonings are on point as well. I'd say the total time it took to cook this was maybe about 30 minutes. It didn't take very long. I did cook the lentils for about maybe 10 minutes or so before adding the tomatoes and then the pasta noodles. So in total, it was about, I don't know, 30 minutes or so. And once the noodles are ready and nice and soft, which only takes about 10 minutes, it is time to serve. You want to make sure that you add bits and pieces of every ingredient in here. Make sure you get these ribbons of lasagna noodles and, of course, that broth.
Oh, midget 1, 2, 3. Time for a taste test. It is so cold, so I cannot wait for this. Now, I like a little bit of a spicy kick to my spaghetti, so I like to use this Tabasco that is habanero. I'm gonna add like maybe 3, 4 drops. This is pretty spicy if you haven't tried it. It looks so good. It's like a whole complete meal. And I've been really actually loving kale recently. I don't know what it is. I put it in some noodles recently. We had some garlic in it. It is bomb. All right, let's try some. I need to get some of my noodles. Oh yeah. That was so good. It tastes like a lasagna, like well, the flavors of lasagna, but then it's in soup form and it's so warming. And this definitely stretches out everything because I only use like a half packet of the lasagna noodles, so it just definitely stretches out everything. So I could probably make another batch of this week. Hmm. Hmm? Also, I added the kale at the end. That makes the kale not too mushy, but if you like to, you can definitely cook it all the way and just add it. I actually had a second thought to adding the kale, so I just add it at the end. You can add spinach, you can add chard, anything that you have. All right, I'm gonna finish this lunch. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope that you try some of these recipes and add some warmth and comfort to your week. And thank you so much for watching again. We will see you on the next video. Bye, everybody. So good.